Hello everyone, this is the PLDC final video presentation on prolog language evaluation. Well, to start off the procedure, this is our group members. Well, in this video we are trying to give a brief introduction about the generations of programming languages and the programming paradigms that are going to be used, and how we are going to select a programming language to solve a given problem, and the language comparisons, which in there we are going to compare several different types of languages which belong to several kinds of programming paradigms, and then we are going to give an introduction about the prolog language, which is a fourth generation language, and those stuff will be discussed later. And then after the syntax and the grammar in prolog, and the introduction to the visual prolog, which is a software which will be used to do the prolog programming, small like an IDE environment, and some sample codings that I am going to demonstrate with you. Then after the applications of prolog programming and the advances that the prolog programmers have made, and so many other things. Well, let's get this thing started. Well, generation of programming languages. Basically, there are four types of programming languages. First of all, the first generation languages, which is obviously the machine code. Well, in that time, the processor can only deal with the programs in the form of binary. That means ones and zeros. As we all know, it is generally far too tedious and hard work for humans to understand ones and zeros rather than understanding numbers or symbols, because human brain is not like a machine. So, since this is a very difficult task, people invented the second generation languages, which is known as assembly code. Well, it is basically invented because it is difficult in using machine code, since that is not very user friendly environment. Then after, in this assembly code, set of words are used to represent opcodes. That means save, move, add, subtract, divide, multiply. All these commands are given in a notation manner, so people can easily identify what they mean. And also, there is a disadvantage in second generation languages. As it was in these first generation languages, this is processor specific. So, it is not very useful in platform independency. Then after, to overcome those problems, third generation language involved. Well, it basically addressed the problems that existed in earlier generation languages, such as simplicity, portability, reusability, availability, security, and so many things like that. Well, basically third generation languages were developed for software development. Java, PHP, C, C++, C#, Fortran, COBOL, BASIC, you name it. There are so many third generation language and programming languages available. Well, finally we are going to move on to the last part, the fourth generation language. Well, this is basically aimed for the problem solving matters. This is more concerned about what is to be done rather than how to do it. This is hugely platform independent, so it is a very convenient thing for a user. A Prolog, SQL, MySQL, Erlang are sample of fourth generation languages. Well, since you have a brief idea about the generation of languages, now I am going to talk about programming paradigms. Well, a programming paradigm is a fundamental style of computer programming. It basically reserves as a pattern or a model for a programming language. That means it describes a programming language behavior. Basically, there are four main types of programming paradigms: procedure-oriented, function-oriented, object-oriented, and logic programming. Well, as we all know, when we have several options, we are basically stuck in the question, which one is the best? Well, there is no universally superior language. Selection is fitment of language. That means strengths and weaknesses to a context of a language. In that case, we are considering a language is better or the best solution for the given context. For a given context, sometimes that C language may be the best option, sometimes it may be the C++ or Erlang. That depends. Well, so there is so many types and so many contexts, how we are going to choose it? Well, basically we are trying to consider about the business capabilities. Then after cost and the technologies. Then we are going to consider about the language capabilities. That means what a language can do and what a language cannot do productively. Then the language expertise. That means, are we expert enough in that language to conduct a software development procedure? Then the context of usage. That's a very important thing. That means where we are going to use it, where we are going to deploy it. That is a very important fact. Then after, hardware and the deployment cost. That is basically belong to the costing. Well, so in order to select the best language according to the given situation, we need to have a proper comparison over them. So I'm going to give you some diagrams which will illustrate the comparisons among those type of languages belongs to different programming paradigms and different programming generations. Right. As you can see, this is a comparison of ease of learning. As we all know, C or C++ is a very difficult language to learn because the pointers and the arithmetic operations are very strong and powerful. You need a lot of time and tedious work to work with it. As you can see, Python or JavaScript or Visual Basic, those languages are considerably easier comparing to the C or C++.